Good evening, y'all. It's Saturday night, August 2nd, 2025. Welcome to the daily happenings inside our federal machine. This is Spathon, and it's time to plunge into the swamp. So, FBI Director Kash Patel, he is seriously considering releasing official FBI headquarters documents and evidence regarding the Russia hoax scandal. And across social media today, Republicans, they're complaining that Democrats are stonewalling Trump's confirmations in the Senate, while Democrats, they continue complaining about the lack of Jeffrey Epstein files. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting is officially shutting down, and Senator John Fetterman continues his pledge in support of the Israel hostages. Also, a concurrent resolution of adjournment has been drafted, which means that President Trump would be allowed to use his power under the Constitution to make recess appointments. So we'll check that out. Also, Vice President J.D. Vance, he turns 41 years old today. And Secretary Scott Turner with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development joins the First Lady in providing foster children a stable future into adulthood. And the United States broke yet another electricity consumption record last Monday. Also, an illegal immigrant was caught working as a police officer. Holy shit. And unfortunately, there was another mass shooting, this time in Montana. And there's plenty more to dig through, so we're just going to dive right in. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And I might read your comment on the next episode if you drop one. So we're just going to jump right in from here. We're going to start with Senator Patty Murray. This was about 5 hours ago. The entire premise of Trump's trade war is unimaginably stupid. There is no making it in America when the it in question is coffee or green tea, which we cannot grow at scale here in the United States. Republicans need to vote with us to finally end these tariffs. Are you fucking kidding, lady? Do you realize that the sole income of the U.S. government before you started taxing, well, not her specifically, but before the citizens were taxed by the federal government, that's how they earned their money, was through tariffs. Dingbat. And it's because tariffs work. And of course, she's not intelligent enough to realize that we are being tariffed by the entire world, but we haven't been doing the same to the other countries, at least not nearly at the scale that they're doing it to us. I mean, there's many products, goods that Canada, they're tariffing us into the hundreds of percent for certain goods like dishwashers and I don't know, a bunch of different like appliances and other ridiculous nonsense. But they've been getting away with it for a long time. So I think we should level the playing field. Tariff them, they tariff us. It's a win-win. But of course, Democrats, I mean, do they really know that? It's really hard to tell, man. Are they really that brain dead at this point? Have they really believed their own delusions and their own lunacy for so long that they really, truly don't know what's real anymore? It's unbelievable. Which, by the way, last I checked, I'm pretty sure that coffee can be grown in the United States. It's called Hawaii. I think that was a state. Last I checked, what was it, 1959? I think we made it a state. I mean, we're after the year 1959, correct? I think we're in the 21st century now, if I'm not mistaken. And actually, I believe I actually left a comment to that effect. And we'll check this out, of course. We'll check out the lunacy, and we'll have some fun with that. So my comment was, coffee grows in Hawaii, Flapjack. And green tea? I'm American. I don't drink that shit. And apologies to anybody out there who drinks green tea. I don't mean to offend you. It was just a fucking joke. So, but can we truly grow green tea? My grandma, she used to make green tea, and she made green tea using herbs from her garden. I think it was like she made green tea. She made, I think, dandelion tea or something like that. It really didn't taste that good. I didn't like it at all. I've never been a tea person at all. And I've never been like a big vegetables straight out of the garden kind of person for the most part. I mean, I've had it like farmers market vegetables and stuff like that, which can be good. I just don't like the vegetables that taste like grass, like too planty. What do you mean? What do you mean, Spathon? Just the ultra fresh ingredients? Are you used to all those genetically modified foods, the GMOs, and that's just, yeah, probably. Plus, I grew up eating canned fruits and vegetables because we were poor when I was growing up, as many, many people were back in the day, back in the 80s and the 90s. So, yeah, I grew up with canned vegetables. I'll eat the shit out of some canned vegetables. All right. without going on and on, because I got a lot to get into. So we're going to check this out as soon as I get my shit together and I get my freaking headphones in. All right, let's get into this.
The entire premise of this
quiet.
trade war is
Turns up.
unimaginably stupid. There is no making it in America when the it in question is coffee or green tea, which we cannot grow at scale here in the United States.
Yeah, I know. She threw in the buzzword at scale. I get it. Hawaii cannot produce enough coffee for the entire United States. By the way, does, let's see, Puerto Rico. Can Puerto Rico grow coffee? I assume they can. I mean, Jamaica, they grow Blue Mountain coffee. So Puerto Rico, they're on basically the same latitude. They're in the Caribbean. I don't know. I assume they probably could, but I don't know. I've honestly never heard of Puerto Rican coffee. I've had coffee because I visited Puerto Rico back in 2007, and I stayed there for a week. I put 1,000 miles on the rental car, man. I went all over Puerto Rico. I was exploring the shit out of that island, and I had some coffee there. Oh my God, it's so good, dude. That coffee, that espresso coffee they made there. Oh man, it's so good. Puerto Rico, man. Y'all know how to make some espresso coffee. That's for damn sure. So can you grow your own coffee beans there? I haven't heard of it, so I'm assuming maybe not for some weird reason. I'm not sure. Maybe the mountains aren't quite tall enough. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I get it. Now, if we had the ability to produce coffee with, I mean, like, how much land would it actually take to produce enough coffee on the Hawaiian Islands to make that feasible to produce coffee just for I don't know, even like 10%, maybe 15% of the population. Or maybe we could just give a break on tariffs with regard to coffee. I mean, that's also doable, feasible, possible. Might be able to make a couple of exceptions here and there. But, you know, I get it, the slippery slope. Then eventually you're applying exceptions to everything, and then now we don't have any
There's
tariffs.
no making it in America when even making something here requires parts and raw material from across the globe.
She's talking to us like we're fucking second graders.
There's just higher prices for working families, tighter margins for struggling businesses, and more worry for families and businesses being pushed to the edge. And one of the most remarkable things about all of this, which Republicans...
You know why they talk to their constituents like their children? Because they understand what the public education system is teaching, because they control the public education system. They have for a very long time. Progressive types, Democrat voters, so on and so forth. So they understand the level of education that American children and actually adults, for that matter, because they've been in charge for a long time, millennials, they understand that our level of education is probably nowhere near what it used to be, like in the mid-20th century. So they have to talk to us like we're freaking idiots, because they have raised a bunch. Well, they didn't. Well, actually, yeah, I actually would go as far as to say that the public education system raised a large swath of the young American adults, and she just has to assume that we're just so dumbed down that she has to talk to us like we're fucking kindergartners or
are
some
being
shit.
Dead silent on right now is that just weeks after showering trillions in tax cuts on billionaires.
Now, also keep in mind, let's see if she offers any tangible solutions. Democrats, they're really good at not offering a single solution. Like, we need this, we need that, we got to fix this, we got to get money back to the middle class, we have to help the middle class. But of course, they never tell us exactly how they go about doing it.
What Trump is doing here is putting new taxes on everyday Americans. Trump is taxing our groceries. He's taxing...
No, the federal government and the state government, they're taxing our groceries. It's called a sales tax, dude. Everybody's taxing everything.
Taxing baby essentials. Trump is taxing back-to-school supplies. He's taxing electronics and cars and video games and just about anything you can think of. Trump wants to call them trade deals.
Well, they are.
But the reality is he is slapping sales tax after sales tax on working families.
Nah, not true.
So my message to Republicans, you just passed legislation to cut taxes for billionaires. Do you really want to raise them for everyone else?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Congress needs to step in, and we need to assert our authority on tariffs. We need to end this chaos. We need Republicans to say enough and vote with us to reverse these tariffs.
Yeah, and watch in like 3 months or so, watch our prices barely budge at all, that we're basically going to be paying the same prices, and the tariffs are kicking in, they're in full swing, but yet our groceries are relatively the same, our electronics are relatively the same. I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know if that's actually going to be the case. Things might go up a bit in the short term. I don't know. But do you know how you reverse that? Do you know how to bring the prices back down? You quit buying it. You just buy products that aren't so expensive. Or you just buy products that haven't increased due to the tariffs. Because if nobody buys our products, either they lower the prices or they go out of business. So, all right. Anyway, I don't want to get too hung up on her nonsense. So let's bump this up a little bit and go on to Congressman Troy A. Carter. Let that sink in. Trump Musk Project 2025. I thought this was hilarious. Check this out. And keep in mind, a Democrat actually posted this. The secret of freedom lies in educating people. All right. Whatever. I'll just finish it. So the secret of freedom lies in educating people, whereas the secret of tyranny is in keeping them ignorant. And as I just said in the last post, who's responsible for teaching our American youth for the most part? They're a bunch of leftists and progressives, the university college graduates who tend to get politically activated while they're in colleges, especially over the last 10 or 15 years. So this absolutely just seems nonsensical to me, but I left a comment for it. So instead of explaining it, I'll just let my comment do it. If I can find it. Here we go. Let's just click on the 5H. That usually brings it up. There we go. Mainly leftist progressive tyrants are educating young Americans, not conservatives. Boys can be girls. They and them pronouns. Try writing they and them into a novel. What I meant by that is give the main character they and them pronouns, and then give another character they and them pronouns, and see if that novel will make any fucking sense whatsoever. It won't. Also, Latinx, that totally makes sense. And being fat, of course that's healthy. 2 plus 2, yeah, it can equal 5, and etc. Yeah, okay. It's nonsensical. Freedom lies in educating people. I mean, sure. Depending on what they're educating and who they're educating and who are the educators and so on and so forth. All right. Anyway, from Rep. Clay Higgins, the ways of old were no more, no less corrupt than the men who controlled things. But we were a nation of builders. Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, 13 months. Empire State Building, 13 months. That's mind-blowing. GNO Bridge, 14 months. Louisiana State Capitol, 14 months. Good luck getting permitting done through today's bureaucracy in 13 or 14 years for projects like these. I'll gladly take the old ways back. Thank you very much. Amen. Which, by the way, the bridge that crosses Lake Pontchartrain, isn't it like 20, 30 miles or something like that? It's an extremely long bridge. That's mind-boggling. It took them only a year to build that thing. That's wild. All right. Let's move on to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. In 2024, America voted to end funding and fighting foreign wars. Funding, fueling, and ultimately fighting Russia and Ukraine would be a complete betrayal to the majority of Americans who want nothing to do with paying to murder people in some foreign land over a foreign conflict that has absolutely zero effect on our lives, which it really does. Doesn't have any effect on it. The only thing that I can think of was apparently the money that we gave to Ukraine apparently came with strings attached. Supposedly that Ukraine, they're supposed to be giving us mining rights. We're supposed to be getting we, as in the United States, as in I don't know what friggin' private company who's going to end up mining all this or who's going to reap the benefits in the private sector from this. But apparently we're supposed to be getting a lot of rare earth elements and minerals and ore and whatever from Ukraine. I don't know. Anyway, the same scenario goes for continuing to fund and fight offensive wars on behalf of the secular government of nuclear-armed Israel. Republicans will lose the younger generation of voters and may never get them back. Well, also with housing, Republicans, they refuse to tackle the housing problem, and that is going to bring, it's not going to get more voters. It's only going to turn more toward the Democrats because they keep talking about housing. Anyway, that's for another discussion. So, not that they will necessarily flip Democrats, because Democrats 100% support the war in Ukraine because it was really started under Obama and Biden. Yeah, 2014 with Crimea. It's a Democrat-driven war that also amassed the usual neocon Republican support. And funding and fighting offensive wars on behalf of the secular government of nuclear-armed Israel is supported overwhelmingly by both parties. These younger generation of voters, ages 40 to 50 and younger, are beginning to feel completely unrepresented by both parties because of the absurd America Last policies, votes, and taxpayer funding that has made life unaffordable and the future bleak for the vast majority of average Americans. Yep, absolutely. I'm in agreement with them in certain areas. The warning signs are beginning to be blaring, but Washington, D.C. is still about as deaf as a fence post. Amen. Yeah, because Congress, they're not there for the American people, and we've been seeing that trend for decades at this point. I mean, they're there for the lobbyists, they're there for big corporations, they're there for just selfish interest in general. You get Nancy Pelosi, who's only making $174,000 a year, and she's in Congress since I think it was 1987, and then she ends up leaving Congress worth anywhere from $250 to $400 million. It's absolutely absurd, and she's not the only one. There's lots of members of Congress who went in there that didn't have hardly any money to their name, and then they came out multimillionaires. I mean, hell, when Barack Obama became president, didn't he have student loan debt? I thought I read that somewhere. Maybe that was mindless propaganda that I was reading, but I thought I read somewhere that either he or Michael or Michelle, quote unquote, had student loan debt. I don't remember. Maybe they both did, but what was it? A year, maybe 2 years after he left the presidency, he went on some book tour and he was given $400,000 an hour speaking events, and he ended up being worth like $20-30 million in just a matter of months. Yeah, they're not for the American people, to say the least. At least it really wouldn't seem. And yeah, I would love nothing more than to see that be reverted back to them representing us instead of representing other interests outside of the American people, the everyday ones. Because yeah, she's absolutely right. The whole Israel situation, the Ukraine situation, although it's terrible, it's horrible, it's something that I would not want to see happening. It's not our fight. It really has nothing. I mean, it really doesn't have anything to do with us. At least it didn't have anything to do with us until certain either members of Congress or certain government entities made it our problem in one way or another. Well, of course, the Ukraine situation is our problem now because we've been supplying them hundreds of billions of dollars and shitloads of weapons. So now Russia's got this massive beef against us. And can you blame them? I don't blame them. But like what Trump said back in 2016, 2017, like, wouldn't it be nice if we actually got along with Russia? Wouldn't that be a good thing? Yeah. It'd be nice if we got along with everybody. That would be nice. All right. I'll get off my soapbox on that one. So from Congressman Mike Lawler, raising the cap on salt to $40,000 means 90% of people in New York's 17th district will be able to deduct their state and local taxes come next year. We promised tax relief, and we delivered. So salt, not familiar with salt. I know what salt is, like sodium chloride. I know what that kind of salt is, but I have a feeling they're not exactly talking about salt. This sounds like a New York thing, but we'll hear about it. We'll see what he's talking about here.
Celebrating the passage of legislation increasing the salt cap turned into a disruptive scene in Yorktown.
Oh, that is loud. I'm sorry.
We made sure.
Oh my God.
Liar. You lied.
You lie!
This all happened during a press conference. A couple of dozen showed up with signs protesting against Lawler and President Trump's big, beautiful bill that recently passed.
Beautiful.
The protesters could be heard jeering and interrupting the speakers, including Lawler.
Let me guess, Democrats?
Every one of you will benefit from this.
I mean, it looks like sodium chloride.
And when we asked Lawler what he thought of the protests, he said he didn't care. So, what kind of impact will the salt deduction cap have? Well, News 12's Melanie Palmer breaks it all down for us.
I saw my taxes go up, and everything out of my pocket go up. Now, maybe I'll recoup some of that.
Longtime Yorktown resident Jay is hoping to finally be able to breathe a sigh of relief. Like many homeowners in the Hudson Valley, a big concern of his taxes. But he says the increase of SALT or the state and local tax deduction cap to $40,000 will help.
I'll be able to deduct again, and even if I break even, that'll be fine.
Passed earlier this summer, the legislation raises the SALT deduction cap for households making less than $500,000. It's a move Congressman Mike Lawler has been pushing for.
But the billionaires and the millionaires
community will see a benefit, and over 90% will be able to fully deduct their state and local taxes come next year.
The average taxes in Yorktown probably in the range of $19,000 to $21,000. So that is immediately doubling our deduction on the federal side for the salt tax.
Local leaders, homeowners, and realtors say this will be beneficial, especially for first-time home buyers.
When the salt was reduced to $10,000, it literally took first-time home buyers like clear out of the market. Quite a bit of people leave or not purchase in Westchester County or in New York, specifically because of the taxes. That will slow this down. It is a win for us.
As for Jay, he thinks overall the deduction will be a benefit.
It's good for towns like this, for this community.
In Yorktown and Westchester County, Melanie Palmer.
All right, well, that's kind of over my head. I'm sure those who live in New York probably understand that a little better than I apparently do. Salt, salt in their driveway? I don't know, but raising the salt deduction cap to $40K is textbook fiscal relief, letting New Yorkers keep more of what they earn instead of funneling it to Albany's bloated bureaucracy. But let's be clear, Hochul's reckless spending remains the root problem. This deduction exposes how state governments exploit taxpayers while demanding federal bailouts. Real reform requires slashing Albany's waste, not just adjusting IRS forms. The $40,000 cap is a Band-Aid. Permanent tax cuts and spending discipline would be the cure. Yeah, I mean, sure. Salt is temporary, billionaire cuts permanent. Can you tell us why? Because there's outrage over inflation? You made such a big fuss last year, directly caused by MAGA policy. Oh, okay. This is good. Stop lying, Mike. Oh, Mike, but what do you care about the protests? That's one of the reasons why you tried to have it at a private residence. Let's face it, it wasn't a good day for you. All right. Well, there you have it. So I won't dwell on it, but that's in the news today. That was posted 5 hours ago. So let's see about this. From a Democrat, of course. You can't be the, quote, most transparent administration in history, unquote, if you're using FOIA exceptions to hide that Trump's name is in the Epstein files. Trump, Bondi, and Patel promised the American people the truth. Release the files. And as I've said before, I don't agree with Democrats on much, but I do agree with them. They should release the files. They should release whatever they have. Release it, release it, release it. If there is anything. Probably isn't. Democrats, they probably burned everything. They probably destroyed everything. They bleach bit everything. They took hammers to everything. They took a page out of Hillary Clinton's playbook. Man, Melania, dude, she's looking sexy back then. Oh my God. Ooh la la. Calm down. All right, I'll calm down. Shut up, Lulu. Just shut up. There will always be people who want to scan the code to see it. You can order here. You know, I've got a QR code sticker on my car, on my rear windshield. It looks pretty similar to that. It's a QR code. It's just a sticker. It doesn't say anything. It's just a QR code. I don't know if anybody's ever taken the bait or not, but if you use your QR scanner to scan it, it takes you to the Rick Astley Rickroll. All right. I don't know. I just thought it was funny at the time. Yeah, it was a waste of money, but whatever. So, Butch Miller, however, it seems you can hide the fact that you are failing on fire recovery efforts in Hawaii. Maybe you should focus on your constituents more and spend less time exhibiting your TDS symptoms. Yep, absolutely. What are you going to say if there are Democrats and Democrat donors on that list? We already know Slick Willie is on there. Yeah, see, that's what I was saying, man. If they release everything on the Epstein files, that's why I think Democrats are bluffing like hell. This is really the one thing that they have to go on that can try to take the spotlight away from the Russia hoax revelations, the whole scandal that's just been blown wide open. And that's why I think they keep harping on the Epstein files, hoping or even expecting. And I think that just reinforces my theory that Democrats, the Biden administration, already destroyed the lion's share of the Epstein files, anything that would really be anything substantial, because if Democrats already know that, well, yeah, of course they're going to be demanding that you release the Epstein files because they already know there's nothing there. But if there truly is everything there, I just don't understand why Trump wouldn't release it. It doesn't really make sense to me. I just don't get it. I think a lot of us don't get it because Pam Bondi and everybody else in his administration, they were all for it, man. They printed out the binders, the press took pictures with them and everything. It's just, it's kind of confusing to me, I guess. But if you have any take on it, drop a comment, man. If you drop a comment, I might read it tomorrow. Interesting that you didn't seem to care about any of those files from 2020 to 2024. Yeah. Your whole party really has just given up entirely, hasn't it? You have nothing to offer and never have except for grievance grifting. Obamagate will not disappear. Of course it won't. Mazzy, Maisie, you, Jasmine Crockett, and AOC should all be forced to take an IQ test. My money is on you for the dumbest by far. I mean, I don't know her very well at all. It's going to be pretty hard to beat AOC's IQ test. All I'm saying. Know what I'm saying, man? All right. Oh, yeah, so there's an article. I forgot that was linked to this. Maybe I'll read a couple of words from it. It will be linked in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. I link everything in the description. Welcome back to FOIA Files. This week, I'm delving into the Jeffrey Epstein saga. We know from news reports that Trump's name was in the Epstein files, but what hasn't been reported is that an FBI FOIA team redacted Trump's name and the names of other prominent public figures from the documents, according to 3 people familiar with the matter who are not authorized to speak with the media. Anonymous sources! Anonymous sources told me. Yeah, of course they did. That's what you say. That team, tasked with conducting a final review of the voluminous cache, had applied the redactions before the DOJ and the FBI concluded last month that no further disclosure of the files would be appropriate or warranted. From the government's perspective, Trump was a private citizen when the Epstein investigation took place and therefore is entitled to privacy protections. Read on and I'll explain. If you're not already getting FOIA files in your inbox, sign up here. Nah. No thanks. Well, I mean, if that's the law, that's the law. If he was a private citizen, I mean, assuming what they're saying is true, which I'm taking with like a planet-sized grain of salt. I mean, the law is the law. If they have to redact him because he's a private citizen, they got to do what they got to do. Otherwise, Trump could just simply sue them and he would absolutely win because they're not following the law. But of course, who in Congress, who in Washington, D.C. is following the law these days? I mean, nobody's being held accountable for anything anymore. But the big question is, were they ever? All right, so I will link that if you want to check that out for yourself. So take a look at this from Chuck Grassley. Special delivery for Saturday session. Yum. Dairy Queen. Happy tastes good. He's eating some DQ. Obviously, it's a slow day in the news because we're talking about Chuck Grassley eating fucking ice cream. Blizzards are good, though. I will give Dairy Queen that, and also their French fries. Am I the only one who thinks Dairy Queen French fries are the best fries on America's fast food menu? I totally am. Maybe my local Dairy Queen is just that damn good at their job. Just my opinion. I really do. Every time that I've had Dairy Queen French fries, I freaking love them. I think they're better than McDonald's. They're better than Burger King. They're better than Wendy's. I think they're the best fries out there in the fast food sphere. Let's see. You need to retire. You're part of the swamp. Blizzards might be the perfect dessert. Some of the best. Love their blizzards so much. Enjoy, Senator. You deserve it. There's no allegation in this indictment that any American was a knowing participant in this illegal activity, Rothenstein said. There is no allegation in the indictment that the charged conduct altered the outcome of the 2016 election. Ooh. All right. I mean, that's a little off topic, but all right. The storm is here, and it's a blizzard. That's a good one. Oh, man, 35 likes for that. Retire. You funded the Uniparty to take over our government, you warmongering neocon boomers. Like, you need to go. You put a corrupt scumbag in a lifetime position on the appellate court. What the fuck is wrong with you? You hate America. This is proof that the fake food lobby is working hard. All right. Do your job. The theft of taxpayer dollars is over. Dissolve Congress. We don't need you. Congress does nothing for the people they're supposed to represent. Love it. Is that a blizzard? Don't let Secretary Kennedy see that. Yeah, no shit. It is real. Only the best. Working a bill that repeals daylight savings time before recess. Oh, man. Could you imagine? I am all for that. That dude looks like Walter White. Yeah, I would absolutely be in favor of that. I can't stand daylight savings time. And I've said it before. I spent some years living in Indiana. I've lived in Florida for like 20 years at this point. But I moved to Florida in 2005 when I was barely 21 years old. And I never dealt with daylight savings time as in any way, shape, or form because the state of Indiana was the only state in the country that never changed their clocks. So I moved here, had to deal with it, didn't even really have a clue what the hell it was. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous that we had to do this shit. So I had to get on the bandwagon, but just by pure coincidence, within 6 months of me moving here, Indiana changed their laws and they started using daylight savings time. At the very first time they used daylight savings time was the first time I had to change my clock when I moved here. So it wasn't even 6 months. It was like a month or two. Crazy coincidence. But yeah, I hope they do. I hope they get rid of that crap. It's annoying. I know they say they do it for school children, so there's some daylight, so safety, bus stops and stuff like that. At least that's the argument that I've heard. All right, so from Senator Rick Scott, Iran-backed Hamas terrorists have held innocent people hostage, starving them for 666 days. Just look at these photos. It's gut-wrenching. Every day that goes by is a risk to their lives. We cannot stop until every hostage is home and Hamas is destroyed. So yeah, we'll check this out. This is the real famine in Gaza, captured in one image. While Eviarder David, kidnapped by Hamas, looks like a walking skeleton. Terrorists from Palestinian Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad feast just meters away. The hostages are starving, tortured, and abused. Where is the outrage? Eviatar and all the hostages must be freed immediately and given urgent medical care and proper food. Let them go now. I don't think they will, because that's really the only leverage they have. But hopefully they will. I mean, that if that's what they're doing, if they're just sitting over there in the next room while he has to watch that, that is beyond fucked up, man. Which, yeah, I'm sure they probably are. The world watches Hamas's barbarity. Oh, were those the only two photos? I was thinking he was going to link more than that. Which is probably a good thing, because this is YouTube after all. I mean, YouTube probably got pissed off that I just read that in the first place. Not to say that they're pro this or pro that. I'm just saying. You know, the rules with YouTube, it's ridiculous, man. They can't let us be simple freaking adults. Like, we can't use the word that's synonymous with, let's see, Minecrafting oneself, Control-Alt-Deleting oneself. I mean, there's a bunch of buzzwords to describe the S word. And it's ridiculous. Or the R word, or the smexual mismalt, and grape. You know, you have to use the G, the grape. And also, you can't say the P one. You have to say corn. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Freaking YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Just let us be adults. Just let us do our adult. All right. So, U.S. Senator John Fetterman. I had the honor to meet with his family in my office. I cannot even begin to imagine the horror of this video for them. I continue to stand with these families and every last hostage. Hamas, send these poor souls home, disarm, and end this hell on earth in Gaza. Hey, man, you got to give props where props is due. That John Fetterman, being a Democrat, that he's one of the only Democrats that are pushing back against all this pro-Hamas bullshit. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. That's really what it is. Because they'll say, well, we're not pro-Hamas at all. We also denounce Hamas, but we're pro-Palestine. And we think Palestine should be a sovereign nation. But, yeah, who's controlling Palestine? Who did Palestine elect when they became independent from Israel in whatever way that they were in the 90s? I think in the early 90s, something like that. I believe they voted Hamas, didn't they? And they haven't had an election since then, because Hamas just like immediately strong-armed the entire population, and they've been in control ever since. So if you're for Palestine, how are you not for Hamas? I mean, Hamas is the government of Palestine. Or am I wrong? I'm sure a progressive will tell me I'm wrong. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll try to corral me towards some other herd of sheep. So I guess, yeah, over on New York Post, we could watch the chilling video. I don't know if YouTube, I mean, it's on the New York Post. You think YouTube would have a problem with that? I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's see. Hamas video. All right. Let's see if we can find it. Hamas video living skeleton. I'm gonna try that and see what that does. Uh, 11 hours ago. That's probably going to be it. How long is this? Is this even a video? Oh, 6 minutes. Well, I could probably skip to it. Let me see if I can find it. 2 days to tell all of Israel. Another starving hostages video released. That's a photograph, not a video. Oh, is that what they're saying? Hostages eat what Gazans eat. Well, what does Hamas eat then? Because aren't they Gazans? Aren't they supposed to be Gazans? Palestinians or whatever the hell they're called? They don't look that starving. And besides, what are all these people here? Oh, wait, hold on. Hostage families. Okay, so that must be in Israel, right? I was gonna say they look healthy. But yeah, that's gotta be Israel, I'm sure. All right, well, let's see it. Why do I have the feeling that we're not going to see it? Is this it? I'm assuming this is. Dude, this music, man. I'm sure I'm going to get copyrighted. I mean, to be fair, he doesn't really look all that bad if that's the video they're talking about. Oh, maybe that was like the first days. You know what I mean? Maybe that was like when he was first kidnapped versus where he's at now. That would make sense. Yeah, let's go, man. Let's end this shit. All right. Anyway, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know what the hell I'm talking about with regard to this whole conflict. It's probably been going on for many years, and hopefully there'll be some resolution to it soon. This started, well, it didn't start in October 7th of 2023 exactly, but this situation started then, and it's wild that we're coming up on almost 2 years already. Like Senator Rick Scott, 666 days. That's a long time. Way too long. It's ridiculous. So hopefully we'll get the resolution pretty soon. All right, so let's move on to Mike Lee, based Mike Lee. And let's see, passed by the REINS Act. Anyway, so he said, I've drafted a concurrent resolution of adjournment, one that would allow President Trump to use his power under the Constitution to make recess appointments. I believe we've got the votes to pass it. Dems can either stop delaying or face recess appointments. Either way, we win. So let's take a look at this. Quick 30-second clip here.
We've continued to have delay after
Very
delay.
quiet.
And we'd rather get these people confirmed. Senate Republicans are ready, willing, and able to stay and get that done.
Agreed.
If they don't want to, though, we got another way around this. I've drafted an adjournment resolution, one that would allow President Trump to invoke his recess appointment power. So
there you go.
If this is the way the Democrats want to play, they might not like the result. Either way, we're good. We just want to get President Trump's nominees in place, and we intend to do it. We're going to win.
Yeah, I mean, Democrats refuse to come to the table. I guess they'll just do it one way or another. I mean, if they refuse to have a say-so in it, that's kind of their fault. So we'll see what that brings. Sounds like either way it's going to get done. So we'll just have to wait and see. So from U.S. Rep. Brittany Pedersen, right? Brittany Pedersen. Buying a home. Oh, wait, here. Let me make it a little larger so you can read it better. Buying a home has become further and further out of reach. No matter who I talk to in the district, housing is the number one issue that comes up, as many people are unable to put a roof over their head, let alone purchase a home. It is essential we come together in a bipartisan way to increase the housing supply and bring down costs so families aren't pushed out of the community they grew up in, the places they work, and the state they love. I'm proud to be recognized by BPC Bipartisan with the Terwilliger Bipartisanship in Housing Award. So Bipartisan Policy Center, that's what the BPC is. And I can't say I don't disagree. from Colorado. I'm still trying to get used to these symbols. House Democrat. That's what I thought. So, because the Senate Republican one, it's not red. It's I think it's dark gray or something like that. So, I get confused. But yeah, this is a Democrat saying it. She's bringing up the housing issue. Republicans, still crickets. I'm not hearing any Republicans talking about the housing situation. And it may not be a crisis for older voters, older Americans. Maybe the majority of Republicans are conservatives because they tend to lean toward the older demographic. A lot of them own their houses. A lot of them are just absolutely loving it because their houses doubled in value in the last few years. However, you got to be considering younger Americans, because if you're not going to be there to help them, and if Democrats keep saying that they will be, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that they're going to gravitate more and more young people toward them if they keep talking about it. Not that Democrats are offering any solutions to this, because they're not. All she's doing is just pointing out that we're having a problem in the housing sector, housing market. All right, so let's move on to Rep. Adam Smith, yet another Democrat. Private entities have hijacked the housing market for far too long, taking properties away from working-class Americans. I've introduced legislation to ban hedge funds from owning single-family homes and to kick institutional investors and private equity companies out of the housing space. Their corporate greed is increasing at already high prices, making buying a home less possible for my constituents. This is a strong pathway toward affordable housing. So, can't say I disagree with him either. I think, large hedge funds, they shouldn't control thousands of single-family homes. And, that should be left up to the private individual Americans to purchase houses. And I hope that actually goes somewhere productive, helpful. Hopefully it doesn't have some slippery, slimy, backdoor idea or trying to conjure up some plan that's really going to end up just funneling more houses into the hands of large corporations. Doesn't sound like it. But at the end of the day, he is a Democrat, so I can't exactly say that I fully trust him. But that's the messaging that I think Republicans should be getting behind. That would be one bipartisan thing that they could work together on, trying to figure out how the hell younger Americans can possibly afford to buy a home. And the answer is not with just dumping tax dollars into their laps. Because to be fair, most Democrats that are talking about the housing situation, that's their solution. They want to increase taxes, and they want to drop $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for their first-time home buyers as a down payment, and the end. That's what they want to do. That's not going to help anything in the long run either. All that's going to do is just incentivize people selling their homes to just increase their housing costs by $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. At least I would assume. Anyway, from Howard Lutnick. Happy birthday to my friend and the greatest vice president in American history, J.D. Vance. At just 41, you've inspired the nation and helped lead the charge on POTUS's global agenda. With your help and leadership, we are ending forever wars. It is an honor to serve alongside you. Happy birthday, JD. And I just realized for the first time, he is the same age as me. I cannot believe that JD Vance is 41 years old, dude. Talk about feeling old as hell. Oh my God, dude. I am the same age as the vice president of the United States. Yikes, dude. I know. I guess we're all going to get there one day if we're not there already, or even older than some of these politicians. But that kind of blew my mind, man. So we're only like a week apart in age, as a matter of fact, because I recently had a birthday. That's why July, that's the month of the year. It's the best month of the year. Oh, yeah. All right. So anyway, from Scott Turner, 1 in 4 foster youth transitioning to adulthood are at risk of or already experience homelessness. The First Lady of the United States and I, through the FYI initiative, are working to provide the foster youth community with stable housing and a path to chart a new direction for their lives. Good story.
The First Lady and her team and our team here at HUD have partnered to provide $25 million to the Foster Youth Independence Initiative, and we're very excited about this. About 20,000 youth aging out of foster care every year in our country, and about a quarter of those are at risk or already homeless. And so we want to make sure that with this investment from HUD and partner with the First Lady that our youth that are aging out of the foster care system have a secure and a safe landing place, working with our local PHAs to provide a place for them to stay so that they can concentrate on their education, so they can concentrate on their careers and workforce. You know, having a safe place, a home to live is a start. But we're looking at this from a holistic standpoint to help really the next generation of leaders as they land on their feet, aging out of foster care.
Very good. That is a good thing to fight for. Absolutely, especially when they're talking, 25% of foster youth are at risk of, or they are already homeless. That's horrible, man. You definitely got to get that under control because that's just devastating. And again, not to bring up the housing situation yet again, but it's not just housing, it's rent. It's extremely expensive. And if they find a way to get rid of the number of illegal immigrants that have flooded the country in the last few years, that will certainly drop the price of rent and probably housing too, because all these illegal immigrants, they got to live somewhere. So they're paying rent somewhere, not all of them. We all know that there were a lot of them that were occupying the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City and other hotels in other cities around the country. But if we're talking 20, 30, 40 million people, I mean, the majority of them have got to be living somewhere. Of course they are. They're not all sitting out homeless. So anyway, this is the big one, man. This is the story of the day, in my opinion. So this is from the FBI Director, Kash Patel. In 2017 and 2018, I proved the Steele dossier was fictitious intelligence weaponized by corrupt FBI officials to deceive a federal judge and unlawfully spy on then presidential candidate Trump's campaign, all paid for by his opponent. This is just unbelievable that this scandal was just, it actually happened. And the mainstream media had the gall to just run with basically the opposite, that Obama and Clinton, they had nothing to do with it. It was all Trump's fault. He's colluding with Russia. It just boggles your mind that for years that they did that. And now they're just trying to pretend that, oh, that's not happening. Jeffrey Epstein's happening right now. Anyway, the media called me a liar. Now I'm the FBI director. We just uncovered burn bags in a room filled with hidden Russiagate files, including the Durham Annex, and then he declassified them. Once again, I released the prior FBI's own documents and exposed the truth. The same media is calling me a liar again. So he's got a problem with that, as he should. Maybe this FBI will release more documents directly from the FBI headquarters so we can see who is lying. Wouldn't want to deprive the fake news of more bogus Pulitzers. And then USA, USA, USA. That is spicy, man. Let's go, Kash Patel. Let's do it, man. Release everything you got, which I really hope he does. I don't think he would have put that on there if he didn't have every intention on doing it. I think he is. I bet they're probably going through the process of redacting whatever is truly top secret. And I'm sure he's going to probably try to minimize as much as humanly possible the redactions. So that way the fake news media can once again get the truth. And then we'll have to hear what kind of fake news they're going to peddle in that regard. So thanks, Kash. Patiently waiting for arrests that will shock the world. Yeah. Well, we'll have to turn to AG Pam Bondi and see what she's going to do about it. I just really hope she won't disappoint. I know the thought of Barack Obama being criminally indicted, Hillary Clinton, James Clapper, James Comey, John Brennan, Loretta Lynch, the whole 9 yards. It's almost unfathomable to imagine them actually getting criminally indicted, arrested, and getting their mugshots taken and all that. But that's justice. That would actually be justice. So let's hope we actually see that in the future, because the American people absolutely deserve that. We got to make an example out of these people, because they're just going to keep doing it over and over again if we don't. It's just simple common sense. You got to make examples out of these people, because you have to make government officials afraid to break the law once again, because right now they are absolutely clearly not scared at all. They're not scared at all. And a lot of the reason is probably because the federal government, they task the federal government with investigating the federal government. And that's kind of problematic. Now, I know they've got their independent committees and individuals who investigate, and they're supposed to be nonpartisan, non-biased, and completely independent of the government. But I would probably go as far as to say that most of them, they've worked in the federal government. I mean, if you want somebody who's truly independent and will investigate it completely independently, they probably shouldn't have ever been employed by the federal government ever. Just my opinion. So anyway, yeah, there's tons and tons of comments here that are just saying, let's go, fucking A, let's rock, put them all in jail. The cashman cometh. That is awesome. All right, hold on. I'm gonna crank the volume down a little bit. You know what? I'm gonna mute it because there's a good chance it's probably copyrighted anyway. But I just want to see what this looks like. Let's just check this out. Oh, is it just fire? Is that it? All right. Put the volume back up a little bit. Let's see. You exposed the lie once, and they smeared you. Now you're doing it from the inside the machine, and they're panicking. Burn bags, hidden rooms, declassified truth. The cover-up is unraveling, and they know it. The same media that cheered the hoax is scrambling to bury the facts. Let them choke on their Pulitzers. Keep dropping documents. Yeah, man, just drop everything. Ooh, that's a little graphic. Until you make an arrest, your moral victories are denied. I mean, I guess I tend to agree with that. You can release whatever you want. But see, look, Kash Patel doesn't have the power to arrest them. He has the power to investigate them. But if I'm not mistaken, I'm not a scholar on federal government policy and the Constitution and everything, but I'm pretty sure it all goes up to AG Pam Bondi. I think she's got the final say if she hands down indictments or not. And then it goes to trial, and I suppose it's up to whatever judge that's going to preside over it. And where do you think that trial will take place? You think it might be in Washington, D.C., where 90% of the bureaucracy who votes in Washington, D.C., they vote Democrat? So one could only imagine the possible outcome of any of those trials if they were to take place in Washington, D.C. And who has the power to determine the jurisdiction from where the trials will occur? Probably the judges. Probably the judges who probably, I don't know, probably signed with Democrats. Call me crazy. We will release the Epstein list. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list. Nobody cares about Epstein. If you want the files released, you're a weakling and no longer a Trump supporter. Yeah, okay. Like I said, man, just release it. I mean, what the fuck are we doing here? Come on. All right. But yeah, good stuff. Good times. Hopefully he goes through with it. Okay, so that was 5 hours ago. Let's just take a look because things move very quickly online these days. Maybe he did drop something. No. Okay, good. Well, not good. I mean, that would have been sweet if he did. So, FBI Director Kash broke open 2016 election FISA abuse scandal. Strategic media leaks were used by FBI DOJ to amplify collusion narrative, plus help secure a surveillance warrant with Carter Page. I'm trying to think who else was associated with Carter Page. Lisa something, right? I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, I was among the first to report on the Nunes FISA abuse memo. This copy with my notes from IG Horowitz 2019 report has aged well. Ooh. So I guess you could check that out. If you're on X, you can go over to Kash Patel's profile, and that's pinned up there right now. Or you can just pause the video as I go from one to the next. All right. Good times, man. What a time to be alive. You know what I mean? All right. Let's head on to Secretary Chris Wright. On Monday, the continental United States consumed more electricity than it ever has before. More than 757,999 megawatt hours, which is an all-time record. Energy demand, it's only growing. Thankfully, we have President Trump's energy dominance agenda. Yep, as long as they roll it out very, very quickly. Make us energy independent. Plus, Trump secured energy deals with some major players with the EU and Japan. Was it Japan? Maybe South Korea. I think South Korea. I think it was something like $100 billion energy deal with South Korea. So we striking massive energy deals. We got to have enough energy for ourselves. We have to have enough for this incoming AI infrastructure that they're investing hundreds of billions of dollars into because AI is extremely reliant on electricity. Very, very, very heavily reliant on it. And that's where China is kind of beating us in the AI race at the moment because They've got the power to sustain it. Whereas we might have the power to sustain it, but it's going to really jack up the cost of our electricity if we don't start really building our electrical infrastructure out very, very quickly, which Trump, he removed a lot of red tape, especially with building nuclear facilities, but they take years to build. So hopefully, I guess one can only hope. We'll see what happens. So anyway, House Homeland GOP. This is fucking wild, man. An inadmissible alien who overstayed his visa was hired as a police officer and attempted to illegally buy a gun. The safety of our communities is a priority. Those who have no right to remain in our country and then break our laws will be held accountable. Unbelievable. Illegal immigrant becomes a police officer in the state of Maine. Like, what? Are you freaking kidding? And what the hell's going on with Fox News here, man? Why is this taking so damn long? Maybe I should just open it up in a incognito tab. Maybe that might help out a little bit. Maybe not. Yeah, there you go. Why the fuck's it taking that? Oh, maybe it's because it's linked. It's jumping from X to there. Sometimes it just helps to copy paste. Illegal immigrant caught working as police officer in Maine while attempting to buy a firearm. Well, you'd think that they would have found it in the background check while he was becoming a police officer. I'm sure they do the same background check because last I checked, police officers, they've got guns. Don't they do background checks before they give them a service weapon? I would have assumed. What the hell y'all doing up there in Maine? And dude, what is going on with this fucking Fox News, man? I wish they'd let me get rid of this stupid banner. It's like right dead in the middle of the way. Well, it would be a little less out of the way if you just zoomed out a bit, but then folks are watching on their smartphones, man. On your fancy phones, you won't be able to follow along as easily. Anyway, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers arrested a Jamaican national for allegedly attempting to purchase a firearm illegally while employed as a reserve police officer in Old Orchard Beach. According to ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations, ERO, in Boston, John Luke Evans was taken into custody with assistance from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives after his firearm purchase attempt raised concerns tied to his immigration status on July 25th in Biddeford. Federal authorities say Evans legally entered the United States through Miami International Airport on September 24th of 23 under a visa that required his departure by October 1st of 23. He failed to leave as required and has remained in the country unlawfully ever since. I mean, why would this guy think that becoming a police officer would have just magically made him a citizen? Is that what he was thinking? What the hell, man? During the investigation, Evans reportedly claimed he was seeking to purchase the firearm for use in his role with the Old Orchard Beach Police Department. All right, well, I assume that they would have done all that while he was in the academy or something like that. It's kind of crazy that they have people who are police officers go do all that on their own time. But maybe it might just save a little bit of money just to have people go do it individually as opposed to the department doing it on their behalf. Maybe that's the philosophy behind that. Anyway, ICE officials are now questioning how an individual without lawful immigration status was hired by a local police agency and possibly issued a department-issued weapon. This raises serious concerns, said Patricia H. Hyde, acting field office director for ERO Boston. We will continue working to ensure that individuals who violate immigration laws and pose potential threats to public safety are held accountable. And it goes on a bit more. They get into some more nitty-gritty info. It will be linked in the description. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave that open to ensure that it does get linked in the description. So let's head down to the Ways and Means Democrats. More Democrats, man. They are busy talking shit today. Healthcare for families or tax breaks for billionaires? Republicans chose billionaires, at Rep. Gwen Moore. Do you think people are going to suffer from the cuts in Medicaid, SNAP, and ACA? I believe they will be better off without those resources. I have a feeling if we pulled up that video clip, which I could actually probably take some time and find it. I have a feeling it's going to be chopped up a lot more to fit this narrative that she is counting on specifically, exclusively Democrats to read. But with regard to billionaires, do more billionaires give money to Democrats or Republicans? I would love to see how Google answers this. I noticed that Google's AI doesn't want to answer it until I force it to. Generally, Republicans tend to receive more donations from billionaires than Democrats. Really? Here's a breakdown of the observed trends. If that's true, then that kind of surprises me. Dominance of Republican donations in the 2024 cycle. The vast majority, 70% of donations, came from the top 100 billionaire families, which are Republican causes and candidates, compared to 23% for Democrats. I wonder if it might be because Republicans are all about lowering taxes, whereas Democrats are all about jacking up taxes, not just for the rich, but for everybody. Everybody has to pay more taxes when Democrats are in charge. So I'm going to ask the same question. Let me go back. I'm going to ask the same question to Grok, and I'm going to see what Grok has to say about that. Because I honestly thought that it would have been Democrats. Let's take a look. Let's see what he has to say about it. Because, Google, they're left-leaning. So, in recent years, billionaires have donated significantly to both Democrats and Republicans, but the distribution varies by election cycle and source. According to a 2024 report by Americans for Tax Fairness, 100 billionaire families contributed $2.6 billion to the 2024 federal elections, with 70% supporting Republican candidates and causes, and 23%, $594 million, backing Democrats, showing a clear Republican advantage. Similarly, a 2022 report noted that $881 million donated by billionaires to midterm elections, 59% went to Republicans, 39% went to Democrats. All right. That is interesting. So if you believed that the majority of billionaires vote to Democrats, apparently you're mistaken, because I'm mistaken. I thought it would have been the other one. But yeah, there you have it. Maybe if I worded it, maybe not billionaires, but maybe millionaires. You think that would change the game any? Because after all, there's over 20 million millionaires that live in America today. Let's see if that might change anything. Who receives more donations from millionaires, Democrats or Republicans? From millionaires. Okay, so they're sticking with the millionaires. See, but they're playing into the billionaire thing. I didn't ask about billionaires. I asked about millionaires. So what if I do this? You'd think Google's AI would be smart enough to know what I'm trying to say here. Oh, they both receive significant contributions from wealthy donors. Among donors giving over $100,000, 51% favored Democrats, while 46% gave to Republicans. In 2022, billionaire contributions, I know, we already know the billionaire thing. Data specifically excluding billionaires is difficult to isolate definitively. Reports suggest a historical edge for Republicans in attracting significant donations from the wealthiest individuals. Well, yeah, I know, we already talked about the billionaire thing. That would be the wealthiest. Data on donations from millionaires, challenging to analyze definitively due to various factors like the increasing reliance on super PACs, which allow for unlimited donations. Yeah, I don't like that idea. I think that'd be nice if they got rid of that. Okay, so I'm going to ask the same question to Grok and see what Grok's response might be. So let's do this. From millionaires, not billionaires. Not billionaires. Sparse and less comprehensively tracked than billionaires. Let's see. Suggests that the Republicans generally receive more donations from high net worth individuals, including millionaires, though Democrats also attract significant millionaire support. Yeah, here we go. I think that's, yeah, see that they're quoting the same thing that Google did. 51 favoring Democrats, 46% supporting Republicans. And that's with regard to donations over $100,000 to federal candidates. So at the end of the day, both sides are getting big donations. Because whether, in my opinion, it's kind of irrelevant whether they're a billionaire or a millionaire. It seems like really the root of it would lie in something like this. Like, who, with regard to large contributions, $100,000, that's a good round number. Giving over $100,000 to federal candidates. Because whether they're a billionaire or a millionaire, it's irrelevant. They're both giving $100,000 or more. So, but I'll still be fair. I'm not saying, the big bad Democrats, they're the worst. I'm still going to be fair and say that 51 favoring Democrats, it's basically 50-50. I mean, come on. Let's be real here. But yeah, it looks like a lot of campaign money comes from a lot of rich people. So, all right. Should I read any comments with regard to that? Maybe somebody has some insight into this hearing here. Maybe. Yes, many could benefit from alternative sources of income. Oh, please, we're eliminating the fraud work requirements. It should have been instituted all along. Taxpayers are sick of it. All right. That's that. I mean, I could take the time to look for this. It's convenient that they don't have the dude's name here because I honestly don't know who that is. I'm sure somebody listening to this might know who that is. But I don't know who that is. All right. Let's just go on to the next because I do have quite a few more to get through. So, again, Senate Democrats, they are talking a lot of smack this weekend. A lot more than Republicans appear to be. Even though Republicans, they're talking online. They're saying stuff. It's just Democrats, they're just talking a lot. Breaking: Senate Democrats just took to the Senate floor to try to pass a bill requiring the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files. Senate Republican leadership blocked it. Senate Democrats are going to keep pressing for accountability. So I will get this queued up here. Let's check this out. It's only a minute 22.
I wrote this bill because the Attorney General said we don't have legal permission to release the information. So let's give her the legal permission to release this information. In fact,
can they do that? Can the Senate, can they do that? Can they give her legal permission? I mean, who is giving the Attorney General of the United States permission as to what to release and what not to release? Who is lording over all of our classified and top secret information? I mean, who is the head honcho? I figure the president. Doesn't the president of the United States have declassification powers? I know Donald Trump said he has no interest in releasing it now. I can't exactly say that I'm in favor of that because I'm not. I think they should have just released it the exact day that Pam Bondi said that they were going to release it. Why was she saying, I'm going to release it next Tuesday? Why the fuck are you waiting until next Tuesday? Then announce it next Tuesday, the same day that you release it. Why are you going to go on this big PR parade talking about releasing the Epstein? Whatever.
Let's pass a law right now, today, here in the Senate that says you not only have permission
they know
to
there's
release
nothing
the
there.
Epstein files,
they know the Biden administration destroyed these files.
You must release the Epstein files.
Just an opinion.
With the names
Just an opinion.
of the victims redacted to protect them. Americans have been very clear that they want these files released. This is the bill that will do it.
It's funny how they put up these cringy-ass slogans.
The victims.
Both sides do that. They do it all the time.
The American people, they
oversight
deserve
committees and whatnot.
to see the files and know the full truth, and they deserve it right now. So this is why we should do now what the victims deserve and what the American public demands.
Is there an objection?
I object. On behalf of every ordinary citizen across America, we are going to continue to press for the powerful and the rich.
But why are they
to be
objecting, though, man? Why are Republicans objecting to this?
Participated in the abuse of young women, in the rape of young.
I think it's because Republicans, they just don't have the balls. I think Republicans should call their bluff. Because I think Democrats, I think they're all bluffing on this shit. I don't think they really want this shit released. I don't think they do. I think they're just trying to obstruct and try to throw up smoke and mirrors away from the Russia hoax shit. So I think Republicans should say, okay, all right, let's do it. Let's release them. I think they should. And I don't know why they're not, but they're not. They're not doing it. All right, so let's move on to Tom Cotton. Chuck Schumer's unprecedented blockade of President Trump's nominees will not stand. One way or another, I promise you, it's coming to an end.
Mr. President, it's 2:20.
Oh my God, dude, this is 12 minutes. All right, we'll watch a little bit of it.
Afternoon, not a usual time for the Senate to be in
Maybe I'll come
business,
back to it.
especially leading into the August state work period when senators are home meeting with their constituents, hearing their concerns, sharing news about what we've worked on. So you can say it's unusual for sure that we are here. I want to take a brief trip down memory lane.
We are not really here, dude. It looks like you're here by yourself.
Explain why we're here. For the benefit of senators, especially senators who haven't been here until recently, and for the benefit of our friends who are visiting in the gallery. We're here for one reason. We're here because of the actions of one man Chuck Schumer, the Democratic
leader. He's been really busy on X.
We're here voting, as you've probably seen,
his crony
and
keyboard
wondered
warriors,
about, on a series of nominees. These are not household names. For some of them, you may not even knew the job existed.
Probably not.
I'm sure, no offense, I'm sure it's important to them and their parents.
5 million federal employees.
But for over 200 years, these kind of nominees didn't get a vote on a procedural question and then 2 hours of debate and then another vote on confirmation. They were voice voted, or they were adopted by what's called unanimous consent of the Senate for over 200 years.
All right.
You can see the evidence here in front of me in this chart. This is the percentage of civilian nominees who have been confirmed by voice vote or by unanimous consent going back to George Bush 41 and to today, President Trump's second term, through about the first 6 months of the administration. George Bush 41, 98%. Bill Clinton. Some people thought Bill Clinton's presidency started a more polarized politics. Nope.
This is part of the reason why Democrats have a 19% approval rating, because they're just not doing their jobs. They're doing anything and everything they can to obstruct basically anything and everything that's going on in our country.
98% for Bill Clinton as well. George W. Bush, Bush 43. Well, it's a 5x increase in the number of record votes we needed, but still 90%. I would note that Senator Schumer was elected in 1998, so he showed up here about 2 years before George W. Bush did. Obama, despite the treatment of George W. Bush by the Democratic senators, stayed steady.
Okay, I get it, dude. We can read pie charts.
0. Not a single one. Not a single nominee of Donald Trump's have been confirmed by voice vote or by unanimous consent.
How many have been confirmed
in the first 6+ months of his administration?
I know that they have confirmed quite a few.
Unprecedented blockade. And we're not talking about the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of the Treasury. Again, we're talking about jobs like the Chief Counsel for Advocacy at the SBA.
All right.
I bet most of you didn't even know that job existed. They do important work, but does the Senate really need to spend 2 hours and 2 votes on it? I would suggest not, based on historical customs. So when did this all start? When did it happen? Did it happen when TV cameras got in the Senate?
Well, look, is the federal government going to completely collapse if we don't voice vote that exact position that you're talking about? If we wait a month or we waited 2 months? I'm not saying we should. I don't think we should. I think they should just confirm everybody that they've got lined up and let's just move the fuck on. But I'm sure that Congress, federal government, it's probably not going to collapse if they stonewall this person's confirmation for a month or 2.
And senators could come down here and perform for the TV camera? No. In fact, there's ample examples and precedent of highly controversial nominations not even requiring a 60-vote threshold. Think about Clarence Thomas, maybe the best example. Clarence Thomas in 1991, the most consequential nomination we consider, a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court of the United States. One of the most, if not the most controversial nominees in history because of the lies and calumnies that Democratic senators made against him.
Yeah, didn't they accuse him of being like an SA'er or he did bad things to women or something like that? It's some bullshit.
I would add. He was confirmed
on a
record vote of 52 to 48. Now you may say, well, how did he get confirmed? He didn't have 60 votes. And that's because as late as 1991, it was considered unprecedented for a senator to require what we call a cloture motion, a motion to end debate at a 60-vote threshold on a nominee, on any nominee, to include a Supreme Court justice. Think about some of the senators who were here in 1991, who could have,
and he arguably turned out to be the greatest Supreme Court justice among the greatest that the Supreme Court's ever seen.
99 senators demanded that Clarence Thomas get 60 votes before he be confirmed.
Democrats are just mad because he wasn't on there.
Teddy Kennedy, Robert Byrd, Joe Biden, John Kerry, lions of the Democratic Senate. Not a single one of them came down here and said, I want to demand a 60-vote threshold for Clarence Thomas. Maybe there were conversations about it, but maybe people like Teddy Kennedy and Robert Byrd said, we don't do that. That's not the way things are done here. Until 1999, when Chuck Schumer shows up. And he and other liberals in the Senate and a bunch of liberal law professors begin circulating the idea, no, we should require 60-vote thresholds.
Okay, all right. So we'll move on. So this is more of the same. Actually, let me just do this one, unless he's already spoken about what was just covered there. But President Trump will have his nominees. It's up to the Democrats whether we do this the easy way or the hard way. Let's just check this one.
The Democrats,
should have just gone to this
having
one.
lost again last year, the White House and the Senate have brought us to this point. 0 nominees confirmed by voice vote or by unanimous consent. An unprecedented blockade. All traced back to Chuck Schumer's decision when he got in the Senate to break the norms, the practices, the traditions of the U.S. Senate. Well, this is not going to stand for much longer. It's up to our Democratic friends to decide how they would like to proceed. Do they want to follow Chuck Schumer off the cliff?
Yeah, obviously.
Because if so, we'll be happy to use the Harry Reid precedent again. We'll eliminate 2 hours of debate time. We'll eliminate motions to go in and out of executive session.
That's probably if every Republican's on board with it.
Entirely.
Which they probably are, otherwise you probably wouldn't be bringing it up.
Take 2 hours of debate. For today, maybe we'll make a motion to adjourn. And when the House returns and votes on that motion, then Donald Trump can appoint this backlog of more than 150 nominees in a recess appointment. It's the Democrats' choice. They have a third choice. They could return to historical precedent. They could agree to voice vote today, in the next few minutes.
Yeah, that's not happening.
150 nominees. At this point, most of whom came out of our committee on a bipartisan basis. Many of whom are nominated to offices that have literally never had a recorded vote on the floor of the United States Senate.
All right.
The question is up to the Democrats. Do you want to do this the easy way or do you want to do it the hard way?
Oh, they always want to do it the hard way. Let's be real. So this is from Senator Eric Schmidt. I've always regarded the Senate as the greatest deliberative body in the history of the world. Now, the great arsonist Chuck Schumer has taken a torch to the Senate. My Republican colleagues and I won't allow it.
2.5 years ago, I was sworn in as America's 2000th senator.
Hey,
a
what do
pretty
you know?
unique honor from a kid who grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Bridgeton, Missouri. And as somebody who appreciates history, the United States Senate has always been held out as the greatest deliberative body in the history of the world. It's a very uniquely American institution. As our founders envisioned what our system of government looked like, they wanted something that was very different than the House, and something that you had equal representation as opposed to proportional representation, this system of checks and balances in a bicameral legislature, every state, no matter the size, having 2 senators, was thought of very differently and is proven over the course of our nearly 250 years to be a very important place to protect individual rights
It's our
and
republic.
a whole host of other issues that matter to the American people. There's also been some people whose names are famous. You had Henry Clay, the great compromiser. You had, of course, Webster, Calhoun, and Clay as the great triumvirate. Missouri's first senator, Thomas Hart Benton, was known as Old Bullion. And I want to propose a new name. Someone who serves currently in the United States Senate.
Uh-oh.
The great arsonist.
The great
Chuck
arsonist.
Schumer.
All right, well, I don't know. We'll see if that sticks. So that was happening in the Senate today. He posted that about 4 hours ago. So it doesn't sound like a whole lot's going to get done there today. So I don't know if they're going to adjourn for the remainder. Not so sure exactly. But it just sounds like it's just going to end up being the situation where Trump is just going to, by recess, just appoint them all. So we'll see. All right. So from here, let me make sure. Do I have this up a little bit? No. That was good. It was good the way it was. All right. So from Senator Katie Boyd Britt. Democrats' unprecedented obstruction will not work. My Senate GOP colleagues and I are fighting to confirm POTUS nominees, and we're getting the job done one way or another. From Rapid Response, who took a picture and shared the image of Donald J. Trump's Truth Social account, which he put out, I'm assuming, today. Very proud of our great Republican senators for fighting over the weekend and far beyond, if necessary, in order to get my great appointments approved and on their way to helping us make America great again. The radical left Democrat senators are doing everything possible to delay these wonderful and talented people from being approved. If George Washington or Abraham Lincoln were up for approval, the Dems would delay as long as possible, then vote them out. The Democrats want our country to fail because they have failed. Yep. Thank you to Senator John Thune and our Republican warriors in the Senate. Fight and win. I am with you all the way. So let's see how that plays out. Sounds like it's going to be a bit unprecedented. So let's move on to the next topic from Homeland Security. President Trump protecting the children of America. President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and Secretary Noem have empowered ICE to remove the worst of the worst from our communities, including child predators. Here are some sickos arrested by ICE Gov Houston. And we'll check some of these out here. One from this individual, Alvin Manuel Alvarez Garcia, a criminal illegal alien who was arrested on February 28th for sexual assault of a child against their will. Another scumbag here, Wilmer Eduardo Banegas Majar, a 24-year-old criminal illegal alien from Honduras, was arrested for aggravated sexual assault of a minor under the age of 14. A piece of shit. And Tyson Bautista Ramos, a 27-year-old criminal illegal alien from Guatemala, was last arrested for lewd molestation of a minor. Previous charges include a DUI, transporting an open container, failure to obey traffic control device, and driving without a license. Ramos illegally entered the United States at an unknown date and location and without inspection from an immigration officer, probably with one of those caravans during the Biden administration. Juan Francisco Larios Cantrero, a criminal illegal alien from El Salvador, was last sentenced to 8 years in prison for aggravated sexual assault of a child in Dallas County. And we have another, looks like we got one more here. Jorge Humberto Carbarria, a criminal illegal alien from Cuba who had a prior removal order and a 2005, 20 fucking years ago, conviction for sexual assault of a child. He was arrested again in June 2025. 20 years later for alleged sexual assault of a child under 14 years old. Fucking scum bags. Get them all out. Send them all back. Check out Minnesota. Ooh. Arrest the pedophile in... Oh, yeah, whatever, dude. Yeah, we got the pushback from the other side. So Latinos are sickos, huh? How about that white teacher who murdered a couple in Arkansas? I don't know about all that. I don't see how the Epstein clients are exempt from the law. Except for Epstein and Diddy victims, of course. And is Trump getting arrested? Yeah. Yeah, they've got all these pictures. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's AI. Not sure about all that. Hang them all. Let's be clear. Yeah, protecting children should never be politicized. While they do arrest dangerous individuals, framing this as a personal victory for Trump and Noem ignores years of ongoing law enforcement work across administrations. Combating child exploitation is a nonpartisan duty, not a campaign slogan. We need consistent, well-funded efforts, not performative chest thumping. I mean, I guess they got kind of, sort of, a tiny bit of a minuscule point. But yeah, I mean, go after all of them. You know, they don't have to make it a big deal. What they're doing is they're just showing on social media that they are actually arresting bad criminal illegal immigrants, because Democrats keep saying that, oh no, they're innocent North American migrant citizens. I don't know how the hell they're phrasing it these days, but they're suggesting that ICE is just removing, detaining. Oh, no. They're not saying detaining and removing. They're saying kidnapping. They're saying that they're kidnapping these poor innocent people, and that's exactly what they are. They're all innocent. And so Homeland Security and ICE and everybody else, they're putting these pictures out to show the nation that they're not just arresting quote-unquote innocent people who illegally entered the country. They're actually arresting dangerous people. So that's the reason why they're putting all that out. Plus, under the Biden administration, over 300,000 children went missing. Immigrant children are missing in the hundreds of thousands, and we don't know where they are. So imagine that horrific thought. All right, so from the Department of State, this week at State with Deputy Spokesperson Houston, ceasefire between, Thailand and Cambodia, right? Yeah, Cambodia. The trade deals were reached, supporting peace in Africa. That's between Rwanda and, Republic of the Congo, I think, or Kinshasa. And also sanctioning a Brazilian justice for human rights abuses. And Secretary Rubio discusses American ideals for America's 250th birthday. So let's check this out. I'll zoom in a little bit on this.
Welcome to the Week at State.
Oh, righty.
Our week began with President Trump and Secretary Rubio demonstrating their commitment to peace around the world, helping to usher in a ceasefire declaration between Cambodia and Thailand. President Trump announced a historic trade deal with the European Union, fundamentally rebalancing the economic relationship between the world's two largest economies. The huge deal includes the EU's commitment to $600 billion in new investments in the United States, $750 billion in purchases in American energy, and open markets to U.S. goods. Regarding foreign policy in Africa, the department hosted delegations from the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda for meetings as part of the June 27 peace agreement, focused on economic growth opportunities and security priorities. Wednesday night, the Secretary tweeted, the President and the U.S. Treasury have sanctioned Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes under the Global Magnitsky Sanctions Program for serious human rights
Brazilian
abuses, demonstrating our commitment to fundamental rights. And later in the week, the President announced a trade deal with the Republic of Korea. President Trump is delivering on his promise for an America First trade policy. Finally, back in Washington, Secretary Rubio offered remarks on the founding ideals of the United States as we approach America's 250th anniversary.
It's going to be a big year next year.
He emphasized how each generation of Americans has worked to bring us closer to the principles of our founding. And that was our week. We'll see you next time.
You have to save up some money to get some big-ass fireworks for next year. All right, let's move on to the U.S. Coast Guard. Today, we honor the 35th anniversary of the Gulf War and the brave men and women of the U.S. Coast Guard who served with distinction during Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. From port security to vessel boarding, their dedication and courage were vital to mission success. We remember their sacrifices and celebrate their legacy. Read more about the Coast Guard's role in the Gulf War. So there's a couple pictures that they showcased from way back when, back in the day. All right, so let's check this out. Check out this little article they got here from mycg.uscg.mil. All right, zooming in. Going on in. Units and personnel of the United States Coast Guard and its predecessor services have served with distinction in every major American conflict since the founding of the United States and the Persian Gulf War of 1990 and 91, and Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm proved no exception to this rule. The Persian Gulf War began on Tuesday, August 2nd of 1990, when Iraqi land forces under President Saddam Hussein invaded Iraq's southern neighbor, Kuwait. Within days, President George H.W. Bush ordered U.S. forces to prepare for military operations in the Middle East. On Monday, August 6th, the Department of Defense initiated Operation Desert Shield to defend Saudi Arabia from attack by the Iraqis. During Desert Shield, the Coast Guard mobilized personnel and units to ensure the safe conduct of military shipping to the Persian Gulf and enforcement of United Nations sanctions in the theater of operations. On Friday, August 10th, Coast Guard Marine Safety Offices, MSOs, activated personnel to inspect the nearly 80 ready reserve fleet vessels preparing for sea duty MSOs throughout the nation also instituted a flexible merchant marine manning and licensing program to expedite the movement of RRF vessels. In addition, Coast Guard MSOs became responsible for port security detachments at ports within their respective areas of responsibility. This effort involved the oversight of security for port facilities and supervising the loading of explosives and hazardous material on board military sea lift command vessels bound for the Persian Gulf. Very cool. Old school photos. At the request of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Coast Guard also committed 10 four-person law enforcement detachment boarding teams to serve with U.S. Maritime Interception Forces. On August 16th, U.S. forces initiated maritime interdiction operations consistent with United Nations sanctions. Within 2 weeks of instituting these maritime interdiction operations, a Coast Guard LEDET had boarded its first Iraqi-flagged vessel. In addition, the commandment of the Coast Guard designated a 7-man liaison staff to serve as operational command for Coast Guard forces such as the LEDETs deployed to the Persian Gulf. The Persian Gulf War set many precedents for the Coast Guard's combat mission. On August 22nd, President Bush authorized the call-up of reservists in support of military operations. Of the 950 Coast Guard reservists called to active duty, over 500 of them were members of the Coast Guard's newly formed port security units. On September 14th, PSU 303, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, became the first port security unit deployed overseas when it was assigned to Al Daman, Saudi Arabia. On September 22nd, PSU 301, Buffalo, New York, deployed to Al Jubail, Saudi Arabia. And on November 14th, PSU 302 from Port Clinton, Ohio, they deployed to Bahrain. These PSUs featured the first Coast Guard women to serve in combat roles, including female machine gunners assigned to Raider tactical port security unit boats. And there is a lot more to read through. I honestly can't read through all of it, but I will link that in the description if you want to finish reading that. So I will at least read this here. So on January 16th of 91, the White House announced the commencement of Operation Desert Storm, an offensive military operation against the Iraqi forces occupying Kuwait. The operation altered Coast Guard activities at home and abroad. It increased the level and tempo of the MSO's activities as they stepped up land-based security patrols around key U.S. military and commercial waterfront facilities and enforced waterside security zones to defend against terrorist attack. Overseas, the Coast Guard's LEDET personnel helped clear Iraqi oil platforms, securing 11 such platforms and aiding in the capture of 23 Iraqi prisoners. And this fascinating story goes on, detailing the history that is the U.S. Coast Guard. So that is pretty awesome. 35 years ago, 35th anniversary. Let's go Coast Guard, man. They are essential. Did you know that the Coast Guard was involved with Desert Storm? I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know. Didn't have a clue. That's very cool. Happy birthday to J.D. Vance once again. 41. Still blowing my mind. So from Senator Dick Durbin, last night the Senate voted to pass bipartisan bills to fund military construction, VA, agriculture, FDA, and more to help our farmers and veterans. And the bills included key Illinois priorities. It is the responsibility of Congress to fund our government programs and agencies through the appropriations process. Alrighty then. So from Tammy Bruce, the State Department spokeswoman, Corporation for Public Broadcasting to shut down. And I think they paywalled this on Axios. I think they did, didn't they? Yeah, you got to be a freaking subscriber. So I did earlier. I had a look. Let me just copy this, and then I'll just paste it in the other tab here. But I was able to find another story. It wasn't on Axios, but it was essentially the same. You know what? Let me do this. Let me just go with this instead. Yeah, here we go. NPR. I might actually go with NPR. Should we go with NPR? NPR. CNN. Let's do CNN. That ought to be a little satisfying. Corporation for Public Broadcasting will shut down after Trump funding cuts. Corporation for Public Broadcasting announced on Friday that it will wind down its operations due to the successful Republican effort to defund local PBS and NPR stations across the country. Oh man, I should have picked NPR. The announcement came just over a week after President Donald Trump enacted a rescissions bill clawing back congressionally approved federal funds for public media and foreign aid. Of the $9 billion in canceled funds, $1.1 billion was earmarked for the corporation for the next 2 years. That is unbelievable, man. That kind of fucking money, are you kidding? Despite the extraordinary efforts of millions of Americans who called, wrote, and petitioned Congress to preserve federal funding for CPB. Really? Millions? I would love to see those stacks and stacks of letters and, I don't know, receipts that calls were made. I kind of find that hard to believe that millions of Americans had called to say, please save the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It must be saved. Now, I'm sure tens of thousands probably did. A lot of them were probably activists and probably left-wingers and progressives, because I would say most young Americans honestly don't give a shit. They don't really care. I mean, who the hell is watching this anyway? If not older people. And maybe they're not even really watching it much. And that could also be another reason why they're probably getting rid of it, because it's probably not profitable. Well, I don't know if I'd say profitable. I don't think it's supposed to really be profitable if it's public broadcasting. But anyway, it's probably costing a lot more money than it really should be in the first place, and they're just giving it the axe. But anyway, so petition Congress to preserve federal funding for CPB. We now face the difficult reality of closing our operations. CPB President and CEO Patricia Harrison said in a statement, CPB remains committed to fulfilling its fiduciary responsibilities and supporting our partners through this transition with transparency and care. Officials at the organization, which was founded more than 60 years ago, say they are focused on helping local stations figure out how to cope with sudden budget shortfalls. Harrison has warned that some stations, particularly in rural areas, will have to shut down without federal support. Most larger stations have numerous other funding sources, including viewer and listener donations, to soften the blow dealt by Congress. Still, public media executives have warned that the interconnected system will be weakened in various ways without federal funding as a foundation. Dude, we shouldn't be federally funding media. We should not be doing that. Don't federally fund media. They shouldn't be getting any money from the federal government. The taxpayers should not be funding this shit. They really shouldn't be. The ripple effects of this closure will be felt across every public media organization and, more importantly, in every community across the country that relies on public broadcasting. NPR CEO Catherine Mayer said in a statement, dude, who is relying on public broadcasting anymore? Everybody's on the internet. They're all on YouTube. They're all just locked in social media. Most of the corporation's roughly 100 staff positions will be eliminated when the money runs out on September 30th. Dude, we're only talking 100 staff positions? I mean, come on, man. We're not talking about some gargantuan entity here. You see that? I used the word gargantuan again. The CPB will maintain a small transition team through January to guarantee a responsible and orderly closeout of operations, it said in a statement. The shuttering is a political victory for Trump, who tried several different methods to defund public broadcasting this year. At one point, he tried to fire 3 of the corporation's board members, even though he had no authority to do so under the law that created the corporation in 1967. The corporation went to court to defend its board members, but on Friday, it filed a voluntary dismissal of its lawsuit, in effect acknowledging that Trump has prevailed. Oh my God, Trump won. How dare he? Republicans have tried doing this for 40 years and failed, but no more, Trump wrote on Truth Social after the rescission bill he pushed was approved by both the GOP-controlled House and Senate. Even after Trump signed the bill into law, some public media advocates held out hope that federal funding could be restored through the normal appropriations process in Congress. Senators advanced a draft bill without any such funding on Thursday, however, signaling that such a plot twist was exceedingly unlikely. For Trump and other Republican lawmakers, eliminating the corporation is a successful stand against liberal bias, which they allege is a rampant problem at both NPR and PBS. Dude, let's be real. It is what it is, and it is bias. It's heavily biased. For public media advocates, it's the end of a non-commercial TV and radio era, taking the federal government out of the funding equation altogether. And they go on just a little bit more, but you get the gist of it. You get the idea. You can click on it down below in the description if you want to finish that off for yourself. But that is coming to an end of an era, I suppose. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting and viewers like you. So this is from Common Sense. A deadly bar shooting left 4 dead and the suspect, Michael Paul Brown, still on the loose. Hope they nail this guy fast. Any updates on this? Provide the latest known information. So there wasn't any as of then. Let's see. From Dan Bongino, FBI personnel are responding to the scene in Anaconda, Montana to provide any requested assistance and or investigative support. So I'm going to look this up because I didn't have a chance to do so yet. I'm assuming they probably found him by now. I mean, this is over 24 hours ago at this point, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just gonna take the easy route and let's see if they caught him. Maybe I should have worded that more specifically. Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to assist. Let's see, Grok. As of the latest information, Michael Paul Brown, the suspect, has not been caught yet. He hasn't been caught yet. Authorities are continuing a manhunt in the mountainous Stumptown Road area west of Anaconda, where Brown was last seen after abandoning his white Ford F-150 pickup truck. Holy shit, man, he's still out there. Multiple local, state, and federal agencies, including the FBI and ATF, are involved in the search, which includes ground and air operations. Brown is considered armed and dangerous, and residents have been urged to stay vigilant and avoid the area. Dude, this is it's kind of deja vu with the firefighter situation. You remember that? Where was that? Idaho, I think, where that happened. What was that? About a month, maybe a month and a half ago, where what's his name? He shot a couple of firefighters, and then he set a fire, a wildfire, a brush fire, what have you. So let's check this out. Let's see if I can try to see if there's anything ongoing on here. Anything recent? Well, here, let me do this. I actually prefer going this route. Try to do incognito. Because because I'm not signed in over here. So it might actually give me a little less tailored to my viewing pleasure. All right. 23 hours ago, a day ago, 12 hours ago. Really, man? Nobody is updating this? 2 hours ago? Here we go. Manhunt intensifies. It's only 30 seconds. Come on. Massive manhunt. Michael Brown wanted. Police mass shooting. Streamed 3 hours ago. So that's not that long ago at all. Let's check this one out. Obviously, I'm not going to watch the entire hour. I just want to see what we got on this guy because I don't know anything about him.
All right, we are live. Breaking news.
Do it live.
Breaking news. Come on in, folks.
Fucking thing sucks.
Manhunt still underway for this guy right here, Michael Brown.
Yeah, this asshole. He killed 4 people. He is
the
an
shooter,
asshole.
Anaconda, Montana. Come on in, folks. Terrible,
deserves
terrible
to be
tragedy
shoved underneath
that
the jail,
occurred
man.
Yesterday in a very small, remote town.
Owl Bar.
Mountainous town in Montana, a town of about 10,000 people.
Very
we
cold
watched
up
it
there.
live as it all went down. And 24 hours later, we're over 24 hours later, the suspect of this mass shooting where 4 people got killed is still not been captured. He's still not.
And yeah, dude, this shooting happened at like 10:30 in the morning. Who the hell? Okay, all right. I know. There are people who like to drink at 10:30 in the morning. And also, I suppose, I stopped myself before I even finished that because there are people who work third shift. There are people who work weird hours. So what might be considered 8 o'clock p.m. to us, it might be 10:30 a.m. to them. Like their 10:30 or our 10:30 in the morning is their 8 p.m. So maybe that's, I don't know.
So he's still
I'm trying
out
to give
there.
him the
So we're
benefit
going to kind of
here.
bring public awareness to this case, share the latest, what's being said, what's being talked about. Apparently, he was a veteran. He is a veteran. I'm assuming he's still alive. A veteran,
maybe
someone
he is, maybe
that
he
has
isn't.
struggled with severe mental illness. Do you see the thumbnail to the video?
Like old dude who started that brush fire after he shot those firefighters, he killed himself, I think, didn't he?
Of him
I'm pretty sure he took himself
at
out.
this bar, and it looked like he was in his underwear.
What?
In his underwear. Scary stuff, folks.
What?
Come on in. We are talking about the case
Oh, he's
of
lost his
Michael
fucking mind.
Paul Brown. This guy right here.
What the fuck?
This has been released by the Montana Department of Justice. Look at this guy's
Oh, he went like full on fucking caveman.
Yikes.
He's abandoned his truck and he ran his white ass into the fucking woods.
Folks. Crazy, crazy,
Yeah, just a little crazy.
And at this time,
How the fuck?
We haven't got
My question is how the fuck have they not found him yet if he's only wearing his freaking shorts and he just ran off into the wilderness?
in a press conference.
Don't they have a thermal imaging and
any choppers up in the sky?
the whole cavalry's out there, I imagine.
Radar, unless they're off the radar. And 3, he hasn't been caught.
Oh, I don't know. Are there caves out there? Are there caves in Montana? Probably are.
Families still need to be notified.
Maybe he became a caveman.
I don't know what I would think that they would be notified.
I'm sure they're going to catch him.
This could be the biggest mass shooting in Montana history. Years back in 2015, there was another crazy case where a guy shot up his family. Same amount of people dying here. That was a total of 5. If he's still alive, that would make 5. But this is like one of the biggest mass shootings in Montana history.
Oh, I can imagine. Probably is.
The 1800s when there was crazy stuff going on.
Wow, man, 1800s.
Folks, this guy here is considered armed and dangerous, and there's some things I want to share with all of you. One, they gave a press conference. They gave out information.
I mean, look, he doesn't look armed in this image, clearly. However, they did say, or at least Grok said, that he abandoned his truck and then took off. So he's probably got stuff with him now.
Authorities are there. It looks
I'm assuming.
The FBI, ATF, different agencies are there. This was a scene. This is some of the footage, crime scene footage that is being circulated. Currently,
all right,
his
not much to
vehicle
see
has
there.
been found, but he has not been found. So we're in one of those situations. I think this has a combination of.
If he disappeared out into the woods and he Control-Alt-Deleted himself, then his body would start losing its core temperature, at which time thermal imaging probably wouldn't pick him up, I would imagine.
Travis Decker.
So in that case, they might have to find him the hard way by just scouring the land.
Eric Rudolph. Some of the combination of these, but not necessarily Travis Decker, though. He's in the mountains somewhere similar to this terrain.
That's right. I forgot about that, dude.
Someone that knows.
I forgot about that dude, that Travis Decker dude. Hold on. Let's take a look at that real quick. What the hell am I looking for? Here we go. Yeah, he had to do with something in, I think, in Washington State, like right on the edge of I don't even know, like Idaho or something, maybe. Yeah, that's what I meant, not Deckard. I have Blade Runner in my head for some reason. Let's see. 32-year-old soldier, Washington National Guard member. He's accused of kidnapping. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's accused of. He killed his 3 young daughters. And yeah, I forgot about this. Apparently, they still haven't found him. Let's see. Summary based on it. So his crime. So he took his daughters, and the worst imaginable happened. Let's see. He's wanted on 3 counts of first-degree murder and first-degree kidnapping. 20,000? That's it? Dude, they should be offering a freaking $1 million for this dude. U.S. Marshal Service. I mean, to be fair, they don't usually issue a hell of a large reward. U.S. Marshal Service usually doesn't. The FBI will. They believe he's still alive. He's hiding in remote areas, using his survival skills. Sightings have been reported in Kolchak Lake and Blewett Pass in Washington. Briefly in Idaho Sawtooth National Forest. I do remember hearing that. That's why I thought Idaho was involved somehow. Considered armed and dangerous. Dude, what the hell is going on up there, man? In Montana, Washington, Idaho, there's just like people are losing their minds for not. I guess that's a little unfair to say that. It's just an awful coincidence that these atrocities are happening in that general area. Oh yeah, that's not it. Oh wait. Let's go back. Let's see if there's anything else to be said about this.
Probably survive out there in the woods. Is he in his underwear? I don't know.
Probably not. Someone not if he took his truck.
Combat veteran, so is used to the elements. We discussed yesterday.
Well, and he lives in the area.
That area is about 70 degrees each and every day. Lows in the mid 50s, so
chilly.
I call it the Goldilocks temperature. You know, it's not too hot, not too cold. Definitely
yeah,
survivable.
Too cold for me.
I'm assuming that there's creeks and streams out there in the mountains outside Anaconda.
All right, looks like there's some
prepared statement for you tonight.
Q&A here.
I would like to introduce the leaders of our investigative team here in Anaconda. First of all, joining me tonight are the Butte Silver Bow Sheriff Ed Lester, Anaconda Deer Lodge Police Chief Bill Sather, Montana Highway Patrol Lieutenant Colonel Kyle Hayter, Deer Lodge County Attorney Roselle, representatives from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and who does not represent what this community or Montanans stand for. At approximately 10:30 this morning, 45-year-old Michael Brown walked into the Owl Bar behind us, opened fire, killing 4 people and fleeing the scene here. As of 10 o'clock tonight, Brown remains at large. Law enforcement has located the white Ford F-150 that Brown fled the scene in. However, Brown was not located in the vehicle today. Authorities are now focusing their search on the mountains near Stumptown Road, just west of Anaconda. While law enforcement has not received reports of Brown harming any other individuals, he is believed to be armed and extremely dangerous. Residents in the area have been notified and are encouraged to stay inside their homes and on high alert. If you see Brown, do not approach him and call 911 immediately. He's 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighs approximately 170 pounds, has blue eyes and brown hair. We have identified all 4 victims in this tragedy today, but we will not release their names until we've had the opportunity to meet with family and determine that the time is appropriate to do so. We would like to thank the following agencies for their efforts in the ongoing search and investigation, which continues through this evening and
imagine
tomorrow.
Everybody.
The Anaconda Deer Lodge Police and Fire Departments, Butte Silver Bow Sheriff's Office, Granite County Sheriff's Department, Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, our Montana Division of Criminal Investigation, Montana Highway Patrol, Missoula County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and the ATF.
Okay.
We will provide more updates as more information becomes available.
According to law enforcement, the suspect is still at large, and
I don't know if that press conference, that might have been last night.
Now today,
because it's only 7, 8 o'clock there right now.
Attorney General's office that shows
7
Brown
or no, 8 o'clock I think. Yeah, 8 o'clock.
Beard and no shirt or shoes. So I mean, if you haven't seen that article, you should take a look at it on our website, because he looks a lot different than the first picture we released to you when we were covering it initially. And also, Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks recently just closed the Garrity Mountain Wildlife Management Area because they're searching in the area right now.
All right.
Law enforcement is searching for Brown today near Anaconda off of Stumptown Road. And Anaconda residents were on lockdown yesterday, but currently there's no lockdown in place. But the sheriff issued a statement today saying residents in the area should be on the lookout for anything suspicious. They're free to leave their residences, but
well, of course they are. I mean, it's still America.
The suspect is still at large. His name is Michael Brown. He's 45 years old. He's 5'10", and he weighs 170
Michael
pounds.
Brown.
And officials are urging the public, if you see anything
hands up, don't shoot.
You think you see Brown, anything along those lines, call Deer Lodge Law Enforcement at 406-563-5241 or call 911. The sheriff said in a statement today, quote, "We are doing everything we can to bring the perpetrator to justice."
Okay, well, I mean, the gist of it is that he's still on the loose. They haven't caught him yet.
Man, search, lockdown in that area. Search.
As of 10.
All right, looks like there's a little more to be said here, and then I'll end it there.
Administrator of the
All right, here we go.
And then we'll see what he has to say.
Good evening. My name is Lee Johnson. I'm the administrator of the Montana Division of Criminal Investigation. I'd like to start by offering our condolences to the family and friends who lost loved ones in a senseless act of violence today. Our thoughts and prayers are with those mourning tonight. I also want to offer my sympathies to the Anaconda Deer Lodge community. This is a small, tight-knit community that has been harmed by the heinous actions of one individual who does not represent what this community or Montanans stand for.
Yeah, would they say less than 10,000 people?
10:30 this morning,
Yeah, definitely everybody knows everybody.
Michael Brown walked into the Owl Bar.
Pretty small
and
town.
Opened fire, killing 4 people before fleeing the scene. As of 10 o'clock tonight, Brown remains at large. Law enforcement has located the white Ford F-150 that Brown fled the scene in. However, Brown was not located in or around the vehicle. Authorities are now focusing their search in the mountains near Stumptown Road, just west of Anaconda. While law enforcement has not received reports of Brown harming any other individuals, he is believed to be armed and extremely dangerous. Residents in the area have been notified and encouraged to stay inside their homes on high alert. If you see Brown, do not approach him and call 911 immediately. He's 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighs 170 pounds, has blue eyes and brown hair. We've identified all 4 victims in today's tragedy, but won't release their names until all family members have been notified and the time is appropriate. We'd like to thank the following agencies for their efforts in the ongoing search and investigation: the Anaconda Deer Lodge Police and Fire Departments, Butte Silverbow Sheriff's Office, the Granite County Sheriff's Department, Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, Montana Division of Criminal Investigation, and Montana Highway Patrol.
All right, yeah, so they're still looking. Haven't found him yet. Let's see, 2 hours ago, the manhunt intensifies, and so on and so forth. Just an hour ago, trio of manhunts underway across the U.S. Oh, wow, 3 different manhunts. But they're not talking about the dude, the guy who's wanted for the triple homicide of his children. They don't have that up here on the screen. I don't know if there maybe it's not like an active manhunt at the time. Maybe I'm assuming it still is. But yep, not good. Definitely not good. I mean, just kind of a coincidence. I actually went shooting today. Went to the local shooting range. Had some fun with that. Shot like probably $75 worth of ammo. And that hurts to say that, but you know, went out with a friend of mine. We haven't went out in quite a while, like probably a year, to be honest. Way too long since I went out and went shooting. It's just expensive. But yeah, I shared a couple of pictures, or well, no, I think I only shared one on my X account. It's the same handle as my YouTube name, Spaethon, S-P-A-E-T-H-O-N. You can check it out over on X. And yeah, I shared a picture of my target, or my the paper I was shooting with the man on it. And I think I only missed him like 2 or 3 times. I fired about 150, although I did use 2 targets, so that one had about half of them. But yeah, good times. I was pretty accurate. I was shooting from 25 yards. It was indoors. I wish it was a lot longer, but I was using my rifle, so maybe it wasn't all that hard to hit the target. It really wasn't, but it was fun. Good times. My shoulder's a little sore. Of course it is. But yeah, anyway, that is basically all that I've got. There's really just, hold on. There's, let's see. I will say this, or this one from Secretary Kennedy. I did forget to mention this one. If we're going to rebuild public trust in the vaccine program, we need to be honest with the American people. Do you really think that you're going to get the total, the trust of the American public when it comes to the vaccines? Not just COVID. I think people they just distrust anything that the government has to say with regard to vaccines. I never got one. I didn't get a COVID vaccine. I didn't get a scratch test or a nose test or any kind of the butt test. I didn't get anything. And it was just because I didn't trust it. They rolled it out way too quick, man. Like vaccines, they usually go through years and years of research, development, human trials, and everything, and they just yanked that thing out almost as quick as COVID came out. And like in less than a year, they were giving this vaccine out, and turns out I'm glad I didn't, because anybody who got the vaccine, they still got COVID anyway. Everybody got COVID, regardless. And in my opinion, it wasn't even a vaccine to begin with. I mean, come on, let's be real. It was a therapeutic, because all they were saying, well, if you get the vaccine, well, yeah, you might still get COVID. Matter of fact, you probably will still get COVID. It's not going to prevent you from getting COVID, but it's going to lessen your symptoms, and you won't have to go to the hospital if you get COVID and you've already got the vaccine. Well, that's not a vaccine, dude. That's a therapeutic. Anyway, just my opinion, but let's see what he has to say about this.
Now that if you even claim a vaccine injury, you're somehow anti-vax. You can't. I mean, these were stories you couldn't even tell a few years ago in this country.
No, you couldn't. You get fucking banned on social media at the very least.
Who are injured, who should be treated with compassion like any patient.
You remember that? Like, even by saying that COVID was a lab leak, it even got that draconian. It got that insane that you couldn't even say that on places like Facebook or Twitter or probably even on YouTube, because they would just instantly they would start off by nuking your post, if not just nuking you off the platform altogether, issuing you a strike and all that, accusing you of spreading fake propaganda. Just
in our country are instead gaslighted.
Horrific time in American history.
They're marginalized. They're vilified. The doctors who report this injury, their licenses are threatened.
Fucking
Scientists who report these industries or document them, their papers are retracted. And we want to change that. We want to be, if we're going to rebuild faith, public trust in the vaccine program, we need to be honest with the American people. We need to compensate people who are injured. And, the companies have no incentive to make vaccines safer. One, because they can't be sued. Two, because there's no market-based incentives. If you get injured by a Hostess Twinkie, you can say, I'm not going to eat it anymore. And the public can say that. But with vaccines, you're mandated to take them.
Yeah.
So there's no market incentive.
About
76 million kids a year are getting them. And many of the cases, whether they like it or not.
Right.
So the company has no incentive to make them safer.
Yeah.
Right.
What a shift at HHS with you in charge.
Oh, absolutely. A huge shift, man. Definitely a godsend that we ended up having Secretary Kennedy of the HHS. Definitely a win. I mean, Trump did really good this time around with picking the right people, at least so far. I'm still kind of on the fence with AG Pam Bondi. I hope she absolutely proves to be as valuable as we all hope she is. So anyway, from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE LA arrested both these dangerous criminals in the community after they were released from prison. So LA released them from prison back out into the public, even though they were illegally here and they committed crimes while they were here. These are the kinds of criminal aliens the sanctuary policies foolishly protect. So ICE LA, they arrested Quoc Dung Pham, of age 63, and Bo Pham, age 65, on July 22nd. Quoc and Bo had previously been arrested and served prison time for the kidnapping and S-word assault of multiple women. They are in ICE custody pending removal, finally. And with that, that's all I got. That's all I got for today. And actually, I went a little over 2 hours. That's really surprising. I think last Saturday, I also went almost 2 hours, which is a bit ironic because I didn't really have a whole lot to go on today. I mean, I had a lot of posts, but there's really not much going on over the weekend. That's why I've been on the fence with just doing this on the weekends as opposed to just Monday through Friday. I think I might in the future still do that. Mainly, I just went with it today because I just, I didn't really have anything going on today other than hitting the shooting range. And then I came home and it was just kind of chilling. Didn't really have anything to do. So just thought I would just spend some time on here and just put this video together. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please give it a like and please subscribe to the channel if you're generous enough to do so. And also leave a comment. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I might just read it on the next video. So thanks again for watching, and God bless America.